It's like when you listen to Incubus, their PRS tone, like it kind of gets you that like hi-fi alternative sound that is like fun, where you're getting like the brightness of Jazzmaster or Jaguar, but you're still getting the bite that you want from these pickups.
There's frequencies there that just may not be there in a vintage P-90.
Right.
And that's a kind of love it or hate it, but this is a more modern guitar, and having those frequencies, but being able to dial them out with the tone knob if you need it, I think is great.
Today, my friend Dan Davila is gonna bring over his Novo Serus J. It's a really high-end guitar that I've already got to play with a little bit, but really, this was the first time I personally dove deep into it with Dan. Dan has been playing this guitar live for a while. It even made me want to compare my Fender Jaguar, which is another offset guitar, but honestly totally different. But I just wanted to hear, like, in comparison, what does this, $1,100 Jaguar compare to a $4,500 Serus J? And honestly, I was pretty blown away with the difference. It's definitely making me think that they are onto something with the design of these guitars. Particularly the P-90s are really cool. So if you've been looking for a guitar like this, or aren't as brave as Dan to just kind of blind buy this thing, then hopefully this video will help you get a better idea of what the guitar sounds like. We threw a ribbon mic in front of a Fender Deluxe, and we threw a 57 in the back just to kind of give it some depth and dimension. And yeah, that's pretty much what you're hearing. And so you're gonna hear me and Dan swap turns at the guitar, just trying to get different tones. We both play pretty different, so for me, I wanted to see what kind of grungy alternative tones could I get with it. And Dan's really great at showing a full range of tone, so hopefully you like the way that this guitar sounds on this episode. And if you have any questions for us or for Dan about the guitar, then don't hesitate to reach out or leave a comment below. Hope you enjoy the episode. Welcome to an episode of Mothership Gear with me and Dan Davila. Dan, you brought in a very special guitar. What is this guitar that you have brought in today?
This is my semi-newly acquired Novo Serus J that I custom ordered last year.
And I'll go to the rhythm. You get like that nice kind of warm fatter sound right there. And it arrived, what, like a couple months ago?
Yeah, I've had it for a few months now.
Okay, so you pre-ordered this, right, online without hearing it. What gave you the confidence to do that?
The builder is a guy named Dennis Fano, who I've never met personally, but he's had several other lines of guitars, and he's known to be a great luthier. Everyone in Nashville is kind of buying these right now, and I've seen them online and on YouTube, and I took the bait and custom ordered one, and sight unseen just paid for it, and 6 months later it came, and I'm glad I paid for it because it was great.
Now, when you saw others on YouTube playing it and you were listening to it, which guitar in your collection were you hoping to replace with this, or was this filling a void in your collection?
I had a Jazzmaster before from the Fender, the mod shop, where you can kind of piece whatever color pieces you want together. I didn't like the rhythm circuit. I never used it, so it was just in the way. And then I had the switch down at the bottom, so for the way that I play, it just was different for me. So what I liked about this was it had P-90s in it, which were a little more aggressive and suited to the way that I played over a traditional Jazzmaster pickup, but it still had some of that Jazzmaster vibe, for lack of a better word.
Yes. So tell us more specifically about these P-90s. What are these P-90s? And then maybe kind of walk us through the sound of each of them and then them together.
Yeah, so this has the standard Fralin P-90s in it. Lindy Fralin makes great pickups. I've owned some of his other ones before. There's a bunch of other options when you custom order that you can change, but I just kind of went with the regular pickups. So I don't have anything on right now. We're running into a Deluxe reverb reissue. We are running through a board, but everything's bypassed, so we're just basically running straight in. So here's the bridge pickup. Here's the neck. And both together. Really does that chimey thing really well,
Right.
especially on the middle position. P-90s can be loud. On a big stage, they pick up everything just since they're wound so hot. But I love that the middle position goes like noiseless when you get to the middle position, like a lot of single coils do these days. But it's helpful on a big stage.
Tell us about, you made a couple modifications versus what it comes standard as. What are those modifications you made? Well,
Yeah.
at least in the purchasing, like they did these for you.
Of course. So you can order these. They release them. There's a couple stores that sell them now, so you don't have to wait 6 months if you want to pick one up. Although I would recommend buying one from a retailer and not from someone trying to flip it on Reverb, because there's no reason to spend extra money, and I'd rather give the money to the guys that are, working
Right.
hard to make these instruments. I changed the neck profile. Normally they come with like a medium C. The way my hands are, I prefer a little bit bigger neck, so I went with the chunky C.
Yeah, I do really like the chunky neck.
It's
the
not
perfect-
overly chunky.
It's the perfect size because it's still thin, but it's what do you call this? Is it like verticality, where it's like,
It fills your hand a little bit more.
but it's like, it's not that my thumb is far away from the frets. It's that there's space on the fretboard for my fingers.
And normally they are extra light distress, and I went with the medium. So it did come this way, and I know that that's a source of contention on YouTube and the internet, that somebody scratched your guitar for you, but I don't mind it. And now if it does get a scratch, I'm not like, oh. I bought a new Duesenberg a few years ago, put a small ding in it, and it ripped my heart out because it was so perfect except for that one
Right.
thing. But if I put a small ding in this, I wouldn't
Yeah.
even notice. And that makes it more comfortable for me to actually take out and play at a gig.
Right. That's a great point, and I've never really thought about that. So let's go ahead and talk about the Mastery Bridge. This comes with an M1, and then they have an NV Vibrato with lightning bolt arm. So break that down for us and how that fits in with the rest of the guitar.
Definitely. Mastery is known for making replacements for Jazzmaster bridges.
If you don't know about the Mastery Bridge, also from our opinions, we think that's the best bridge for the Jazzmaster.
Anyone who's ever played an original one will know it's cool and it has a vibe and it has a sound, but it does not stay in tune. And as much as the string noise behind the bridge is part of the sound of a Jazzmaster style guitar, some of the older bridges can have so much noise that they're not useful as studio tools unless you really want all that background information. So Mastery is just kind of an upgraded steel heavy duty version of a Jazzmaster bridge. The arm, I'm told, is bent in a different way than their traditional one for a Novo guitar, just because of where it places your hand when you're using it. You can use the traditional arm if you prefer the straight arm, but it came with this and I haven't had any issues. So I've just been blown away.
Give us a little demo of you using the arm as much as possible.
Oh, yeah. Now it sounds like a YouTube demo for sure. Never played a vibrato before. I use it. It's definitely not meant to dive bomb. If you're looking for like full-blown metal Floyd Rose, it's not that. But just to be able to add some movement to different chords. Which is just kind of a nice touch. I try not to overuse it. Sometimes when I have a guitar with a vibrato on it, it's like every note gets vibrato and it doesn't always need that. But it's great to have. And it stays in tune very well. Everything's on.
So sick. Yeah, maybe now give us some different tonal options with the tone rolling off and kind of show us how that affects the sound.
Definitely. I usually run the tone pretty far up on this just because that's what's comfortable for me. But if you want to get, we have a little bit of spring reverb on. If you back it off on the neck pickup, you can definitely get more of a slightly jazzy tone. Even on the middle position, I'll turn off the reverb and put on a little chorus. If you wanted kind of more of a staccato thing, maybe some kind of funk song. Like some of those parts from 80s songs that just kind of sit really far back, you can kind of turn the tone down. I do love using the tone. I'm going to turn on a little bit of gain and turn my volume knob down as well. How dynamic it is. Roll it off on the bridge, but then having the ability with the volume knob to go from pretty clean to not as clean to full-blown kind of rage at that point. And I love a guitar that can do that with the knobs on it because it frees me from having to stand in front of a pedal board and just stare down at my feet the whole time, and just kind of lets you enjoy the moment and just play.
Yeah, it's cool. It kind of reminds me, it's like when you listen to Incubus, their PRS tone, like it kind of gets you that like hi-fi alternative sound that is like fun, where you're getting like the brightness of Jazzmaster or Jaguar, but you're still getting the bite that you want from these pickups.
I think hi-fi is a great word for Fralin Pickups. There's frequencies there that just may not be there in a vintage P-90.
Right.
And that's a kind of love it or hate it, but this is a more modern guitar, and having those frequencies, but being able to dial them out with a tone knob if you need it, I think is great.
While we're kind of on that, why don't you give us kind of a rundown of some chunkier, kind of more driven sounds that you would do with this guitar?
So I'll just have a little bit of drive on, a little bit of spring reverb, no delay, no compression or anything like that. I have the tone and the volume knob back up. You could definitely use it for some of like the modern country music. And because it has the P-90s, it can handle the gain more than, at least than the Jazzmaster I owned. Even this amp's not super loud, but if I was playing my old Jazzmaster, it would be feeding back even at that volume once you get to that level of gain. And even tone rolled down a little bit. I'll put a little bit of delay on. It can still kind of do the singing lead thing a little bit. And I love that tone knob that you can kind of smooth it out a little bit. I like my amp set a little brighter so you can go somewhere if you want, but then with the tone knob, you don't have to.
Yeah, the function of having those two really simple controls is really nice. Playing it live often, does that bother you at all, or do you like the weight of the guitar?
This one is actually made with tempered pine, so this guitar is just under 8 pounds.
Okay.
The Mastery hardware, since it's stainless steel, is a little bit heavier than some other hardwares, but some people call it roasted, some people call it, there's torrefied, there's different names for it. But basically they get the wood really hot and they dry it out. At least that's my understanding. I'm sure somebody on the internet can correct me on that. But the body is so light that it's also super resonant. So I love the weight.
Did you end up buying this one because you had another one that was really heavy?
So I had a American Fender Jazzmaster.
That was
and
the heavy one.
Extremely heavy.
Okay, so then what's the weight difference that you dropped down to then?
Yeah, so I went down over 2 pounds.
Wow.
And I'm old now.
Yeah.
And by old, I'm not that old, but I have to actually care, especially if I'm doing a session or a long gig of any kind, I have to care how much weight I'm putting on my neck.
Yeah.
So having the roasted body and the lightweight.
So you ended up saving yourself with the weight of this one. It's actually a selling point for you because you were with a Jazzmaster at, you said 10 pounds.
Yeah.
That's
Which
crazy.
probably wasn't a good one. I'm sure there's plenty of Jazzmasters that aren't that heavy, but for me, it was just too heavy.
Again, it kind of goes back to this being your main workhorse moving forward because it's lighter, it's got the simpler controls, it's got the heavier pickups, it's got the great trem arm. So, I mean, what about tuning? Is it staying in tune easy as your main workhorse?
Yeah, I haven't had really any tuning issues. I don't dive bomb it.
Right.
So I'm sure you could have tuning issues if you do that because the bridge wasn't designed for that much. It's more of a, it's a vibrato. It's not a, it's not a Floyd Rose. But I've had no tuning issues with it, and it's really become my main guitar because of that. And I can cover so many different tones. I have a Telecaster that I love. We might have to have on the show sometime. I have a 335 from the Murphy Lab that I love. But those guitars have a very specific sound that's not always what I need. And I feel like this can kind of morph into anything that I need it to be.
I want to grab my Jaguar and have you play that and then compare.
I'd love to. And that's why I don't own a Jaguar. I have no idea what these switches do.
So already you can tell that there's frequencies missing compared to the P90s, which I wonder, would P90s be something worth putting in this, or would that defeat the whole purpose?
These aren't traditional Jaguar pickups either. These are humbuckers.
Yeah.
And it's a blessing and a curse that sometimes these have been taken apart, and I have no idea what these switches are doing. So it's just kind of flip it around till it sounds good. This is an E flat right now. That sounds really cool. And kind of for like stuff you were playing before, like kind of some alt type music, like it would be really, really cool. It for sure doesn't have as much high end as the Novo had. The tone is all the way up right now.
Well, I'm glad you picked up this guitar, and thank you for running us through it. Is there anything else about it that we didn't touch on before we peace out?
I think that just about covers it. Like I said, those were the only custom options I didn't. So it's normal frets. Everything else about it's like a normal thing. I would highly recommend, if you have anywhere, wherever you're located, that you can actually pick one of these up and put it in your hands, do it. I know that it is a more expensive guitar, but I will say that the craftsmanship is worth it. And I love people that have a craft that have honed it for so many years and then can stand behind every product that they sell, the way that a mass factory can't. And I think that's worth it.
One more thing before we go, pedal board wise, in case they're wondering what you were doing with the signal chain, what did you have in this episode that you were utilizing pedals wise?
Yeah, so I used a little bit of reverb from the Big Sky MX little bit of delay from the Empress ecosystem, and the drive I was using was the Vemaram Janray.
I love your pedal board.
This is like octave. Wait a minute.
Let's see. Well, thanks for joining us, Dan. If people want to follow along with you on the internet, where's the best way for them to connect with you?
On the socials, I pretty much am Instagram exclusively, which would be Dan Davila, DANDAVILA. Would love to connect with you about gear and just, talk nerdy gear stuff. That's my favorite.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in to Mothership Gear. If you guys like this content, please subscribe, and we will see you guys next time. Later.
See you later.
Bye.